Hi friends, Alex Kai's here, and this is a home in Seattle. Now, I'm out looking at yet another dream home, and I'm starting to think that it's time to start strategizing about how I can maybe retire someday and get this water view, because I have to say it's pretty nice here. Let me show you. Now, this is a very small house, but just look at this setting. Now, this spot isn't actually that expensive compared to the rest of Seattle real estate, probably because the combination of it's only 2 bedrooms, it needs quite a bit of work, and in order to get here, I had to cross a railway, go down a lot of stairs, park up at the top of the hill, and walk maybe 5 minutes to the front door. But we've got this nice front room with a fireplace and a deck onto the Puget Sound, and inside we can go upstairs to 2 bedrooms or downstairs to the kitchen. Here's a bathroom, and then there's 1 more bedroom, but look at the view from here. Going back down the stairs, there's a kitchen on the lower level. Here we have it. The whole house obviously needs quite a bit of updating, but the setting really makes it worth it. Mukilteo is about 35 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic, from downtown Seattle. And it's got a lighthouse, a coffee shop that I really like, a ferry terminal, and I'd love to live there, but probably not doing that commute every day. Okay, let me show you the way back to the car, because it's quite a trip. First, a gate, then along a railroad, then up some stairs. Very out of breath, but look at this. It's beautiful here, and somebody's installed a zip line. Then walk along a path. Here's an upper parking lot and a lower one. We're settling into our shoreline house that we bought a couple months ago, and it's really nice there. But my mind's already going on to our next real estate purchase. Because you see, I want to be able to retire someday, and hopefully through a few good investments, we can attain some sort of financial independence. Now, as a realtor, I know and understand real estate pretty well. So, I'm going to invest in what I'm familiar with. So if you're interested in homes from a design or investment perspective, make sure you subscribe for more videos and follow along on Instagram too. Let's define what financial independence even means. To me, it's freedom, and the freedom to do what I want, essentially, to travel, to help other people, to take on a project, to work the job that I want to have, not the one that I have to have. I'm pretty lucky to be self-employed. I can work how I want to, with who I want to, and when I want to. I mean, look at me. I'm on the beach on a Monday. It doesn't get too much better than that. But I do eventually want to retire someday, and I don't have an employer's plan to rely upon. So I'm gonna have to start investing in real estate. I'm still working on getting my basement renovation project finished, but I'm making good progress. Let me show you. I'm starting to put flooring down, and I'm about halfway there to being done. It makes a giant mess. There's a lot of garbage there and a lot of sawdust everywhere. So I'm looking forward to finishing this part of it. Let's work backwards for a minute. And this is how I'm thinking about it for myself. So the median income in Seattle is about $100,000. I think it just broke that threshold recently. And that works out to about $8,200 per month. So with that as a target, the question is, how many rental units do you need to hit that target income? Here's an example of a nice little house to buy and rent out for some rental income. Look at this, it's priced pretty well. It's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. It's in Shoreline. Let's have a quick little look around. First though, look at these. I just absolutely love these little door knockers and peepholes. Look at this, just a little door. You open it up and you can see outside. It's adorable. So here's the living room. We have some nice hardwood floors. They probably could use some refinishing. But the kitchen is in nice shape. It's been renovated fairly recently. Here's a bedroom, and here's a bedroom, and here's a bathroom. Not a bad setup here. So this house is priced at just under $600,000, and it can probably be rented out for, I'd say $2,500 to maybe $2,800. We're in a good part of Shoreline. With an investment property, you do have to put 25 to 30% down. It kind of depends on the lender and what they require, which puts you at a monthly payment of about $2,200. So you're not losing money, you are cash flowing just a little bit, and you're building equity as the market moves along. And with that equity, you can pull it out at some point, maybe do a refinance or home equity line of credit, buy another house, and keep building an investment portfolio. When looking for a good rental property, I like to look at neighborhoods that are in a growth period. So we're in Shoreline now, and I live in Shoreline, and I think it's a great opportunity because the light rail's coming in. There's lots of families moving here because the schools are good. It's still close to Seattle, and property values have almost doubled in 5 years, which is kind of crazy. The median price of a house was $475,000 in 2017, and it's now about $800,000 in 2021. So if you're looking for a place to buy a rental property, all of these qualities are great signs. So what if you just can't afford to go out and buy a bunch of rental properties? Well, it's a good question. And a lot of people say that homeownership is out of reach for the next generation. And true, in the 70s, a home in Seattle would cost you about $100,000, whereas now, the median single-family home price is $950,000. So here's a few options. You can buy a primary residence, and remember, you can put a lot less money down and get a lower interest rate. And then in a couple of years, use the equity that you've built up to buy another house and rent out the first one. There's also house hacking. You can have roommates. You can start an Airbnb in your basement. You can do a live-in flip. I'm setting up for a podcast with my commercial real estate alter ego, Josh. I wanted to ask him about what it takes to buy a larger commercial multifamily housing building, because while I'm not quite ready for it yet, I am interested in learning all about it. So I get a lot of people asking me how they can get into real estate investing. Like, what's the minimum amount of money required? And there's a lot of different ways. Like, you can buy a property for 30% down and requires a lot of money, but there's like syndications and REITs out there. Can you talk about what those are?
So a syndication is basically where a bunch of people pool their money into an entity. Typically, like the number of it is a 506B or 506C. That's what it's called. And then with that money, then they purchase a property together. It's kind of one of those things. Most things in real estate are pretty straightforward and pretty boring, but you do need to know what you're doing also. So it's just putting in the time to get educated and figure out how to do it, and then do it, and try to keep it as boring as possible. Because when it's exciting, that probably means something's kind of going wrong.
Yeah.
So my name is Joshua Granberg. I'm a commercial real estate broker, mainly deal with apartment buildings. I mainly do mid to large apartment buildings.
How big is a mid to large apartment building?
Mid to large is typically 30 units and above. So mid would be like 30 units to 100 units, maybe even 150 and up would be considered large.
So how much does an apartment building cost?
In like the Seattle area, we're talking, most of them are about 2 to 5 million is what we're looking at. My dad is a great example of that process. So when I was in high school, he bought a little terrible duplex in Portland, Oregon. It was awful. His first day of ownership, he walks up to the property and there's a Rottweiler that bites his leg. So that's the level of this property. It was not pretty. But my dad, my brother and I remodeled it, got it working, held it for about 2 years, and then With that, bought a triplex in Vancouver, Washington. So we had both of those. And then we ended up selling those, did 1031 into a trailer park, a 14-pad trailer park in Puyallup, Washington. That kind of slowly grew. We kept that for a long time, but with that, the proceeds from that, we never drew on the proceeds of or the income from it. With that, bought two other, I guess it was a triplex and a duplex in Tyler, Texas. Those never really did anything. Tyler, Texas was supposed to be like this big up-and-coming town, and it kind of never really took off. So we ended up selling those two. And then just a couple of years ago, I helped him sell the trailer park. So he bought the trailer park, I think it was 2009, so it's perfect time. I think he put $40,000 down on it.
Nice.
We went in with a partner, so they each put $40,000 down. And then the partner wanted out, so my dad bought him out for $30,000, so it's $70,000 in it total, and then sold it for $950,000 just a couple years ago. So he did fantastic on that job.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And then with that, did a 1031 exchange into two other properties, a medical facility and a 34-unit apartment building.
Nice.
So that's kind of a typical process.
Yeah.
Starting out down at the bottom, get a couple, grow them a little bit. So now he's retired and living off of his investments.
For me, my next goal is a single family home that I can rent out in order to learn the ins and outs of landlording. So if you're thinking about making a home in Seattle, send me a message.